told us to stand here. Do not hurt us. Do not hurt us. We are your citizens. We protect the survivors. Do not hurt us right now. Do not hurt us right now. Do not hurt us. Do not provoke. There are reporters here. Do not hurt us. 99%. We are the 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 99%. And so are you. Are the 99%. And so are you. Are the 99%. And so are you.
Police have begun clearing out occupied protester camps in New York. There are also claims that pepper spray is being used. The raid comes after activists vowed heightened action this coming Thursday to mark 2 months since the movement began. Well, let's talk to RT's Marina Portnight, who's in New York for us now. Marina, have the camps been removed?
Well, the evacuation, the surprise sweep of Occupy Wall Street headquarters in New York City is still ongoing. This surprise sweep began at 1 a.m. Tuesday morning. At that point, hundreds of police officers, some dressed in riot gear, descended on Zuccotti Park and presented the activists that have been camped out there with letters ordering them to temporarily evacuate the park. And the activists were told that all the tents were going to be removed by the police officers. Police claimed it was a health issue and that the park needed to be inspected. New York City Police Commissioner Ray Kelly was on scene for this episode as it unfolded. This is the first time the New York City Police Commissioner has been present as police officers and Occupy Wall Street activists have been confronted face to face. This has been going on for 2 months, but clearly this is the pinnacle of all the tension that has been taking place in New York City for the past 8 weeks. Protesters were told that they would be allowed to return to the park, but not with their property. Then when the police proceeded with the evacuation, we saw tents being violently ripped down, ripped apart, removed from the park. The peaceful activists that were there, some were being dragged out of the park. There have been reports of pepper spray being used on the activists, many of whom sat down and refused to leave. There's also been reports of the police department using an LRAD machine to create enough of an inconvenience, the noise sound, to get the activists out of the park. Before the sweep took place, the police clearly had a plan because there were barricades put all around Zuccotti Park within a 4-block radius. And when members of the press were trying to get down to Zuccotti Park to access the event and to see what was going on, to report about what was going on, many members of the press were not being allowed in.
Well, we understand that tents were also dismantled at a site in Oakland in California,
right,
and some 50 people were arrested in Portland. It looks like authorities are tightening the screws on the protests there.
That's right. This clearly looks not just like a New York City sweep, but a nationwide sweep of the Occupy camps that have settled in major cities throughout the United States. It looks like it may be a domino effect from one city to another, but New York City is the headquarters of this campaign, of this movement. But many do believe that the New York City Police Department are trying to get ahead of the game because, as you already mentioned, the Occupy Wall Street movement is planning major protests for Thursday. That's the 17th. That marks the 2-month anniversary of the Occupy movement, and major events will be taking place all day, including what organizers say will be an attempt to shut down the New York Stock Exchange. So as you can imagine, New York City officials are probably trying to preempt that, trying to avoid it, and if that means they're going to sweep the camp and try to make this inconvenient for activists to remain there throughout the winter without tents and without their property, that's clearly what city officials are trying to do.
Okay, Marina Portnight in New York. Thank you for that live update.
Sure.
In New York, hundreds of police are starting to evict Occupy Wall Street protesters from their base in Zuccotti Park. These pictures, streamed via the internet, show police moving in. The demonstrators have been camped near the city's financial district for 2 months. They're protesting at what they say is corporate greed and social inequality. Well, let's speak to Kath Turner, who's at the scene. She joins us on the line now. Kath, we're hearing that police have been dismantling tents and evicting protesters. Tell us what's happening there now.
Yeah, Shirley, right now I'm about 1 block from Zuccotti Park in the financial district of New York City. It's 3 a.m. and there are hundreds of police. The barricades are going up. I'm looking at a truck right now which is putting barricades around the park. They are stopping the protesters from crossing the streets and they're penning people in. I was just in a group caught about 2 blocks away. The police were very heavy-handed. They were shoving us onto the sidewalk, saying, stay on the sidewalk, move away, move away. They have been dismantling tents. I'm going to tell you, after 2 months, this was very much, hey Julian, this was very much an Occupy Wall Street area in the fact that they were entrenched. This was a living area, a full camp with kitchen, libraries, total facilities. All of that has been destroyed. We've seen pictures of rubble building up on the corner of the park. These police are intent on getting rid of these protesters. Just to add there, the New York Mayor, Michael Bloomberg, has tweeted and said that the protesters can move in after the dismantling of the park and the cleaning up has been done. I'd say that's not too far away now, but of course there won't be much left for the protesters to return to.
And clearly this is a deliberate police tactic, doing this in the early hours of the morning to catch the protesters asleep.
Absolutely. From what we've heard and the people we've spoken to, they were given about 10 minutes warning. The police moved in very quickly and surrounded the park, and then they used a megaphone to tell the protesters they had 10 minutes to evacuate, to leave the area before they were going to get in and start raiding. We have not heard any confirmed reports of violence or anyone being manhandled as they were pushed out, but there was certainly a very concerted effort. You're right. It's in the dead of the night, 3 a.m. This was the way to get the protesters as they were sleeping. There's still a couple of hundred who have been camping through the night. It's a very mild night in New York City tonight, so some people were still awake, but they moved in very quickly, and there's a little bit of force being used, I'd say, to get these people onto the sidewalks, and they've now got free rein of the park.
And Kath, is this just about being able to get in to clean up the park, or is this a wider crackdown on these protesters, which we've seen taking place across the country?
Well, about a month ago, there was an attempt by New York City and Brookfield, which is the company that owns the park, to clean the area. They said they need to move through because there were concerns about sanitation. But the Occupy Wall Street protesters rallied, and thousands of people turned up, and the Brookfield and the New York City mayor backed off and said they weren't going to clean after all. And the protesters said this was a false pretext to try and get them out. But however, they haven't even pretended to clean the park. This is a genuine attempt to dismantle any kind of occupation, any kind of settlement here. So I think the cleaning has gone out the window, and really it's just a complete sweep through. There won't be hardly anything left. As I'm speaking to you, Shirley, I can just see a couple of people being arrested and taken away now. There has been a little bit of push and shove here. But the main action is happening on the park, which, as I said, will be quite there, I'd say, when we'll be allowed back in there, perhaps in half an hour or so.
OK, well, no doubt we'll be getting an update from you then, Kath, for the moment. Thanks very much indeed for that. Kath Turner in New York there.